G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the duties with my two idiot mates. So let's bring them in. First off, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
BP.
Well, hello from sunny downtown Jakarta, Indonesia.
The borders are open, you're gone.
No, the borders aren't open, mate. I'm in lockdown. I'm in 7 days quarantine in some place in Jakarta on my way to the boat. For those who don't know, up in Batam, which is an island just south of Singapore, to go and check out the X2 as we get ready to load. But here I am stuck here for 7 days. I'm 2 days in.
Wow.
That's it really.
Much
just
commendation to you, BP. You've put this boat together in the toughest time in the history of the world of putting boats together, and you've got your first one about to go, mate. So congratulations. We're looking forward to seeing it.
Story of my life. It always is under some sort of pressure or controversy.
I'm not saying a word. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Boss.
Gentlemen, BP,
Hello.
I was going to say, I've done a bit of time in Jakarta. If you're staying at the Pullman Hotel, request Jeannie for a massage. Really good.
Jeannie. Oh, okay. I'll give her. I think that's next door. I don't know, but I'm not allowed outside. And they did say when I arrived, you're not allowed to get. They did say when you arrive, you're not allowed to get anything from outside in. So I guess that bars that out. But I do have a different definition of Jimmy Brings, so I can just ring up and it rocks up.
Bintang. Bintang brings.
Bintang Brings.
Hey, boys. So another year has passed. BP, you and I shared a birthday week this week.
We did. We did. Yes. Happy birthday to you, mate.
Yeah, happy birthday.
And your eyesight's gone by.
My eyesight. Mate, this is the story. I take the piss out of everyone as much as I possibly can, knowing that it's really going to come and catch up to me. Literally, the day before my birthday, I was buying something at the chandlery and I had to walk outside to get some sun on the bloody writing. And then my missus and daughter buy me a pair of glasses as a bit of a joke.
And it worked.
Holy shit. My life has changed.
It's good.
I can see clearly.
Oh, welcome to the group, mate. Are you a 1.5 or what are you?
No, I'm just a 1 at this point in time.
Good on you, buddy.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to get to 1.5, mate.
It's good. It's good for your grandma to have lent you a pair of glasses as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, these were $12.60 from Ampol.
Next time you're in town, go and see the second best optometrist in the world, mate.
That's right. Will do.
Okay.
Will do.
Very good. All right. Got a good one tonight,
All right.
boys.
We certainly do. I'm excited.
Adventure. Adventure's the word.
Adventure's the word. That's a good way of putting it, BP. Our guest tonight is what you would describe as an adventurer. Grew up in the mountains, so no real background in sailing that I know of. We'll find out, but started, restoring an old boat, sailed across the Atlantic, cruising around, jumped into the Clipper, did the Clipper race as a paid pro, and then and is now in the 650 class. He calls himself the Sailing Frenchman. We just call him Hugo Picard. Welcome to the show, Hugo.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Cue round of applause. Have you got that cued in there, Jordan?
No, I haven't got my list in front of me on this. I'm working remote at the moment.
Hugo, great to have you on, mate. The Sailing Frenchman, I like that a lot. I like the intro there, Jordan. We just call him Hugo. And I had always been referred to you, people referred to you as the Sailing Frenchman, Hugo, and checked out a lot of the stuff you're doing. And to tell you, I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about here.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks a lot. Sailing Frenchman thing started a few years back. It's actually more confusing for French people. They don't know how to call me, the French sailing man or the French sailor, and they're really confused. Makes more sense for English-speaking people, I guess.
I guess it is pretty foreign to them. There's not a lot of French sailors around. Really, so,
Lots of people come at me and are like, "You're French, you're sailing. Why don't you speak French?" I'm like, it's a tough one.
It is one of the difficulties with your French colleagues. They love to I mean, we don't speak French. Obviously, being from Australia, we don't speak anything really, just bumble through. But it's good when we do. We love to get the French on the show, and we do because they're funny. So so we love it.
Because you can make fun of them, or because they're funny?
Because they're funny. Yeah. Good play though. You're onto it. Hey, let's go on the timeline, mate. I love this. I was sort of just going through your information and grew up in the Pyrenees, which of course, you know, I can't remember if BP's on the bike, but Bicey and I got into cycling in a big way. So we follow the tour and we know the Pyrenees backwards. So snow's your background, mate.
Yeah. The Pyrenees is definitely not a big sailing place. I grew up here. I was in this school, high school, where, you know, we spent like half of the time skiing, training for competitive skiing, and the rest of the time in class. I started to be a ski instructor. So I really thought I would, you know, kind of carry on professionally in the mountains, working there and stuff, until I went to study university in Montpellier, so in the Mediterranean coast, and that's where kind of sailing started to happen. I was in the sailing association of the university, and that's what got me into sailing.
Yeah, cool. So. Did you love it from day one, or like it was new to you at university, or had you done it before?
I had done a little bit of sailing as a teenager with some friends, more in Brittany, in Bretagne. But it was really something like, you know, from time to time, and it was more like spend some time with the friends while sailing. But it was really little. But then when arriving in university, it was just a small group of people. We didn't really knew what we were doing, but just renting, you know, a boat for the day, then for the weekend, then for a week. And then it became like super clear that it was, you know, a way to race, but also a way to, you know, have fun with your friends, carry on your home with you. You know, you don't need anything but you know, the boat, bit of food, pack of beer, and, you know, you're gone for a few days without having to worry about where to sleep or where to, you know, go in a restaurant for, especially when you're in university and you don't have much money. So it was from day one, kind of really felt comfortable into this.
So, so 18 years old is kind of when you first dipped your toe in the water, so to speak, more from just instead of just going with your mates? And were you, when you said it was a group of university friends, were you chasing the ladies down to the yacht club?
Well, I cannot say that this was not involved, but the very first kind of feel of the water, I think, was so my parents traveled a lot before I was born, and just before I was born, they bought a really old, rusty boat in French Guiana and fixed it by themselves. And then I arrived, and then they traveled a little bit around the Caribbean for like 2 years. So the first 2 years of my life, I was on the boat. Not that I can remember anything of it though. But I guess, you know, seeing many pictures and having your parents talking to you about all these wonderful adventures on the water, on the small boat, cruising around with their friends. Maybe this kind of started something in my head. And then when I had the opportunity to go on the water, like something clicked. I don't know.
Before we talk more about the water, just going back to the mountains quickly, you said you could see yourself in a professional career there. Was that kind of just working there, or were you good enough to be a professional skier?
No. So I was training with people that actually carried on skiing professionally, but I was a ski instructor.
Yep.
Massive industry. Once you get into it, and you can go all around the world, from mountain to mountain. But a lot of people got to do that, and it's just white out to white out. Whereas in Australia, it's blue sky to blue sky. So,
yeah.
Well, Bicey is just so you know, Hugo. Bicey's pretty talented at most things he puts his hand to. But I will say, I don't think skiing is one of those things.
Confirmed. That's not even a maybe, right or wrong. That is 100% confirmed, my friend.
So one of the things that obviously that trip in your earlier years with your parents had an influence because you went and bought a 50-year-old boat, worked for a few years, did a bit of tinkering around in the marine industry, but you went and bought this 50-year-old boat. Have I got to pronounce it with the An Ale? Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. So that was my first boat, and it's actually I did not boat it really. The boat came to me. So after these kind of 2-3 years of working renting boats with the Sailing Association, I was like, okay, I like this, and after a few months of working on of trying ourselves on boats, and another university called from France as well, from Lyon, and they were like, "Oh, we're organizing what you're organizing, but with more boats, and we're looking for skippers just to come and for the 1 week trip we're doing. Do you guys want to come and skipper a boat?" And with another mate in the association, we're like, "Yep." We have no idea, but yep, we're coming. Yep. We took the car to Lyon, then we took a bus to Croatia.
Wow.
And, it was it was 10 boats. So it was around 100 people, university students, and just, arrive in Croatia, pick up the 10 boats. I was given a 45 or 47 foot monohull, one of these charter boats, and I was like, okay, let's try to do this. And we had just at the same time the best week and the worst week ever, because lots of partying, lots of new people from another university to party with. So that was fun. But it was also the mad I think it was the beginning of the winter. And we got everything from no wind, of course, the mad, but also to 50 knots gust on the mooring at night, dragging anchor, etc. But did not break anything. Everything was fine. But after that, I was like, oh, that's super fun, because you go skiing, you need to get your gears, you need to get your accommodation, you need to get your ski pass, etc. When you arrive on a boat to charter, you just get your bag with, hopefully if it's warm, just a swimsuit, and that's it. You don't need to worry about accommodation, about anything. So that's kind of what.
Just so the listeners are aware here, I'm not on any sort of theme, but this is kind of like college in the US. Yeah. Is what I'm imagining. Like all the Europeans going away on the university students, going away on boats.
To Croatia, you might add.
To Croatia.
Yeah, beautiful.
And all that they need is their swimsuit.
Yeah. And a small one.
Well, no, yeah, you're pretty right. But that for me, it was a way to sail, because rent your own boat is expensive. Own your own boat is expensive. But there, I was cold, and then I went to Sicily, I went to Greece, I went to the Caribbean, just flown in to skipper a boat. I wasn't paid at the beginning, and because I had no sailing degrees whatsoever. But I was flown in to just sail and have fun with people my age. So that was a good deal for me. And then came my first boat, which was a friend of my parents who called me and said oh, there is a boat that's going for super cheap in near Marseille. And I was like, yeah, but what's super cheap? I don't have money. He's like, I don't know. Just call the guy. He gave me the number. And the guy wanted €1,000 because it was what costed to send the boat to be destroyed. I was like, I don't have €1,000, but I can come have a look at the boat, and then we'll see, because he wanted to get rid of the boat to have the mooring spot in the marina. And after chatting a bit with him and stuff, he's like, okay, I give it to you for €1. Like, deal. And he really wanted the boat gone. The boat had not moved for 3 or 4 years from the marina. There was this sea of mussels under the hull. The boat had been, some people had visited the boat and stolen most of the electronic and everything. And so at the end of the day, I ended up buying the boat. And what's funny is that at the moment of signing the paper, I did not. I came hitchhiking from. I was having job interviews in Paris. I hitchhiked my way to Marseille. Wanted to sign the boat paper with him. My dad had joined me at that point, and I want to sign the paper. I don't have €1. I don't have a coin to give him. So my dad had brought some beers from home, and I gave him the bottle of beer instead of the euro. So that first boat came at the cost of a beer. That's pretty cool.
That is super
Speaking
cool.
our language, Hugo.
I love it.
Speaking our language, mate.
That's the best story ever, mate. We love that.
And the beauty is you've still got $999 to spend on the boat. You know, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll go forever on a 50-footer.
Yeah. But the whole thing, like it really shows the ability to adventure, like hitchhiking down and just doing that and rolling in. And
It still exists, you're saying?
Yeah, yep. And the only other thing I will say, though, there is a certainty in sailing is that, it costs you a bottle of beer to buy the boat, but there's still no such thing as a cheap boat, because I'm guessing you had to spend a fair bit of time working on it, mate.
Yeah, no, definitely. So if I don't know, for people listening to this podcast one day, don't buy a boat like ever first, and don't buy a cheap boat. That's the worst possible idea. This said, though, once I got the boat for the bottle of beer, called friends, lots of friends arrived. We spent like 5 days on the shipyard, just stripping the boat, putting some anti-fouling, sorting out the sails, just make sure that the boat was okay to go at sea for a little bit. And I took the boat from Marseille to Montpellier, where I was studying. Mm-hmm. And really that first sail, no electronics was working. Anyway, we did not have a battery inside the boat. I just got the day before we started the delivery, a small 5 horsepower engine to go out of the harbor. And just this first sail along the coast there was amazing. We had really pretty much nothing was working on the boat but the jib and the mainsail. And it was the best feeling of, okay, we're super free. I mean, we need to fix this boat a little bit more, but we could go a long way with this boat and travel. And it was like, okay, now I need to find a way to fix it, to improve some things, to make sure that the boat doesn't get me into trouble at some point, or I don't get the boat into trouble. And after this, it's been a few years of I was still in university, so kind of living part-time on the boat. The other part-time was at friend's place and things like this, and all the time I was not in school, I would spend it working on the boat, trying to improve small things, trying to put an inboard engine in, which never really worked. But lots of things like this.
That's very cool. And then, of course, you just sailed it across the Atlantic. She was, 26 foot, mate?
Yeah, 26 foot. It's an écume de mer. So I don't know, like many Australian reference for that. But if you speak to someone in between kind of 45 to 65 today in France, and you speak to him about an écume de mer, it's almost sure that they sailed on that boat. It's the first line production boat made in France. So where they had the same mold for all the boats, and this was the first boat of the Tour de France à la voile.
Oh, okay.
So there's been a lot of them. So pretty much in any harbor you go, and there is one of those. They're really seaworthy and really good. So yeah, there's been in between these kind of two moments where I crossed the Atlantic, and when I got the boat, is that of course I needed money to make it able to cross the Atlantic. So after studying, after finishing university, I went to try to get some money in working. I was working for the UN at that time. I went in IT for 6 months, and I was kind of 1 week, 10 days to fly back to France with enough money to make the changes I wanted on the boat and cross the Atlantic. And I had a motorbike accident, broke my foot, had to have surgery, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing lasted 6 months. And at the end of the 6 months, I had, again, not enough money to fix the bloody boat. So went again to work, still for the UN in Pakistan, spent 1 year there.
In Pakistan?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And there I was working in really remote places of Pakistan, and the UN would not let me out much at all. I was working from a bunker most of the time. When I was done with work, which was all I had to do, I would spend it like watching sailing videos, watching tutorials to know what I had to do on my boat. And I made just a huge job list. So when I arrived to France after that 1 year working, I was like, okay, let's fix the boat. And this took 6 months before the crossing.
Hey, I got Hugo. Good news, mate. There's a cum de mer for sale in Australia right now.
Really?
But the bloke's asking $3,500. Tell him he's dreaming.
Tell him he's dreaming for sure. You got a way better deal.
So you're on fire.
The real question is how this cum de mer got to Australia.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably yours kept
Some crazy Frenchman sold it. Because I tell you, it definitely wasn't an Aussie.
Definitely not. But that's 75 cartons, Jordan. So you could offer him 75 cartons for it.
Yeah.
75 cases. We could get it. 75 cases of beer. No problem.
We can do it. All right. So you're an adventurer, mate. Like there's just no fear for you, is there?
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty rational. Once you're in the water, it's okay. You can manage things more or less.
Okay. Let's talk about things to manage. So I want to we want to get to your mini stuff, but you did the Clipper, right? Like the edition that just went for the Clipper around the world race. So you were first mate, I guess, on I can't remember one of the was it a Chinese
Halong Bay.
Yep, Halong Bay. Yeah. And obviously that event got disrupted majorly with the COVID. Like it was underway when the COVID hit. I think you guys were pretty much in and around where BP is right now, actually.
Where do you end up? The Philippines.
Philippines.
Right?
Yeah, Philippines, yeah.
Yep.
So what was that like? Like that, I'm really interested in the Clipper. Like we sort of, just from the perspective of, you're making your career as a sailor, but then you've got to go and sail around the world with a bunch of people that they could be any standard. They're just paying to be on a boat. And, you could be at risk. Like, I guess they're trained quite well. We know there's a training program. But, I mean, was there a few times where you were shaking your head or it was just fantastic? Which way, how did it roll?
Oh, no. So for me, it was an amazing experience, really. Maybe later we can chat how I got to Clipper race. But Clipper race.
Just tell us everything, mate. Just go.
Clipper race is definitely an amazing experience. I mean, from my point of view as a professional, it was super interesting. I'm sure as point of view of crew, it's amazing as well. And as you said, many people have never sailed before that. Actually, pretty much on average, 50% of the crew never sailed before Clipper. Mm. And eventually they get to do only one leg, which is, let's say, the Southern Ocean. So from Uruguay to Cape Town or from Cape Town to Australia. And they never sailed. They did 4 weeks of training and they arrive on the boat. And after 2-3 days, they're around the 40 degrees south. You need to get some kind of organization rolling on the boat so everything goes fine. For me, I've been super lucky to have to go with a really cool skipper. Josh Stickland is British, and he's super cool guy, super chilled. Also, not the typical skipper that you have to be just following the orders. Was asking my opinion and stuff. So that was super cool. Mm. I also got lucky with my crew. So basically, Clipper Race is a company. They get the boats, they get the skippers, they get the first mates, they get the crew, they get to organize everything. So you don't choose your crew. On our boat, for example, so they 70-foot boats, we had 73 crew, I think. Not at the same time, obviously, because people are doing different legs. But at the same time, you have up to 22 crew. So that's a lot of people on a relatively small boat. But so yeah, you get your round the worlders, people who sail the whole way around the world with the boat, and you have leggers. They join for 1 to 3 legs. And that's, for me, has been the most interesting part into the Clipper race, because you get your round the worlders. I think we had 7, I think 5 of them never really sailed before. And,
wow.
you start from London. I don't know. We started, in just in the estuary of the Thames. Dropped our spinnaker on the water. Many things happened. Had to exit the channel going upwind in like 35 knots for 2 days or 3 days. Everyone puking, and you're like, what the hell am I into? And then eventually you turn the tip of Finisterre, weather improved, you put your kite up, there's sun, people starting to feel, the groove. And slowly, you build the capacity of your crew, and the people who never sailed before become the ones, after 1, 2 leg, they become the one teaching. And I don't know, on the first leg of the Clipper, so we went from London to Portugal, had a stopover, then from Portugal to Uruguay.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I probably spent half of my time awake on the helm, just helming, because people helming a 70-foot boat and the spinnaker is not something that catches like this. But that second leg, I was helming a little less, and the third leg even a little less. And so when the race stopped in Philippines, I was almost like, okay, we're almost to where they don't need me anymore, because they know. And this teaching and coaching was super interesting.
Yeah.
I guess you get you find the good ones come to the top. They the ones that have got natural ability do more. Then you've got the ones that don't necessarily enjoy it as much, and then you've got ones that just want to be the workers. You kind of almost a natural natural selection of people. They come through.
Yeah, also. And you definitely get this in a group. For us, we've been on our boat, we've been pretty lucky with crew. We had lots of Irish and Aussies, so great people.
How many gingers did you have? How many redheads?
I won't say, but a few. No, so, just, I don't think it's important on a boat, either if it's racing or it's not important to have good sailors. It's important to have good people, because you can turn good people into good sailors. But, it's this thing that, you have to be kind with other people. You need to have people who, love the banter, because when you're in the Southern Ocean, sometimes during 3 weeks, you see the sun twice. And what's important is just like having good mood, having people wanting to just keep the boat moving, keep the good spirit. And that was, it was really cool.
We have a bit of a saying here, and it's kind of everyone we've spoken to kind of has the same ethos, but it's kind of the no dickhead rule type thing. Which is easy enough for us to, from a boat where you can choose your crew. But I'd imagine there'd be scenarios during the Clipper where everyone's on the dock and everyone gets along, and then next thing you know, like you say, you only see the sun for 2 days in 3 weeks. Then maybe those dickheads start to rise as well.
Emerge
so
from the...
I'm guessing that takes a little bit of management.
Why are we talking about me?
Well, at the same time, the satisfaction of seeing people that you didn't think rise to the top coming through as well would be, very satisfying.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what you said about, maybe there is always people that don't get along. There is always, someone who can have a bad day. We've been lucky that, that was mostly our skipper, Josh, who had this, kind of policy of trying to have everyone getting along. And once you have this boat spirit, that starts rolling, for us, it just carried on, because we had our round-the-worlders, we had our leggers, and this just passes on from, from one leg to another. And you can feel that's the standard, and let's carry on with this. But it's something that's really hard to set, it's something that maybe doesn't work, and it's a bit of management, it's a bit of luck, but yeah, it's something super important.
There must be extremely tight bonds created in the Clipper. I mean, I think it's a whole professional sailing around the world. Like, you're all there for one job, and you'll know what has to be done, and you know everything. But to actually build on the experience and the adventure, for people that haven't sailed, I think that itself, there must be some great friendships developed out of that.
No, definitely. There is great friendship, few Clipper babies, but yeah, no, it's definitely.
I was going to say
definitely.
I was going to say there was a couple of groups being trained down here for that, probably that race in Sydney. And I can tell you, after their week was done, they weren't afraid of a beer at the CYC. I can tell you that much. So
they're picking up on the right vibes.
Yeah, no, they were getting taught well, I thought.
So the thing that's interesting is that we sort of we've talked the way you've spoken, the way we've come into this. We've talked about, for the people that are willing to pay to get on the Clipper, you know, you've sold it really nicely. But a lot of our audience are the ones that want to get on as the skipper and first mate. So that let's go back to what you wanted to talk about, how you got there, because a lot of our audience would be very interested.
All right. So yeah, basically back to the boat I bought for one beer, fixed it, spent 6 months on the shipyard, not even in the shipyard, in the forest at a friend's place, not to pay the shipyard fees. Anyway, got the boat in the water, sailed out of the Mediterranean, little bit with friends, little bit by myself, sailed from Gibraltar to Canaries by myself. That was my first kind of long passage, single-handed. And I arrived in Canaries, planned to spend 2 weeks there, exploring, and then go to Cape Verde. I ended up spending 2 months and a half there because it's a super cool place, just many islands to visit, made great friends. And my dad joined me in Canaries, and we went to cross the Atlantic. We left from La Palma in February, and we arrived to Martinique in March. We took 31 days. 31 days to cross the Atlantic is pretty long. It's about, I think we averaged about 2.3 knots. We got pretty much everything from kind of a weird low pressure that passed, and we went upwind for a few days. Then once this part, we had a tropical wave, and we were in the part where we're left with no wind. For like a week, the ocean was like a lake, and we're going backwards because the current is supposed to go this way, but apparently that part it was going that way. So yeah, we got pretty much everything. We reached the other side, really happy. But I was like, okay, sailing is cool, but I need to find a way to sail faster because this is not possible. Like, I could have crossed the Atlantic walking faster than I went sailing. So. So basically, I arrived on the other side and was like, okay, how can I sail faster? I guess race boats go faster. So I started looking for race boats who were really expensive. So I was like, okay, how can I sail without buying the boat? And I went to cruise the Caribbean. Normally people, take the map of the Caribbean, the chart of the Caribbean, and say like, oh, this looks nice, this looks nice. I took the regatta planning, and I said like, okay, when is the next race? And I was in Martinique. And I went, I saw that the next regatta was in Saint-Barth. There is an event called Les Voiles de Saint-Barth, which is a big is it a walk race? Maybe not. But so I went straight there, anchored the boat, and just started dock walking with my nicest polo, and went from boat to boat asking if they were looking for crew. And this is actually something that I get asked on social media a lot. Like, how did you get into racing? And just go to the next regatta and go to every boat and ask for if they need crew, because there is always someone that did not wake up from the previous night at the bar, someone that missed his plane, someone that break his whatever part of his body. And there's always, they always need someone to do something on a boat. And that's what I did. That's how I started racing on the J122 liquid. In Saint-Barth. And then I went to Antigua to the Antigua Race Week, and kind of how I put a foot into racing, getting a little bit of experience around the cans. And at the same time, I was sending lots of emails. I basically Googled offshore racing and emailed pretty much every result that could come out of that. And one day, Clipper Race wrote me saying like, "Oh, we might have a spot for you," and that's how Clipper Race started.
Wow,
There you go.
I'm impressed. I think you're quite the amazing dude, aren't you? Like you have a go.
Nah, just luck. Try your luck, and sometimes it works.
No, you make your own luck. You make your own luck, but that's a huge part of what we're on about here at Barkarati is pathways and finding your way to these positions. And you know how many people I think would go, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. Hearing you speak, Hugo, is highly likely to click someone's light bulb and go, I'm going to give it a crack. Yeah. Because very few people would think to just email the Clipper and say, give me a go. That's how it is,
It's cool. It's super cool. All right, we need to get on to BP. Like BP has just been quietly, patiently waiting to get to his favourite whole discussion here. His
favourite topic.
He's ready, so we'll be sitting back watching. But you were the Clipper. You got 2/3 of the way around. You're second overall. Yep. You're having a grand time. Great team. COVID comes. The world changes. And given that you're a pretty shy guy that, will just sit and wait for the phone to ring.
Limited ambition.
Yeah, with limited ambition. What do you do next?
Well, first I took a really clever decision. As soon as the race direction say, okay, this is over, everyone flies back home because there is COVID and they're going to lock the borders. I'm like, this is not going to last long. I want to have a job in the meanwhile. I went to my boss at Clipper and say like, okay, I'm okay staying with the boats here, take care of the fleet because the 11 boats of the Clipper were in the marina. I'm okay staying here, taking care of the boats for the next 2 months before you guys come back. Because at the beginning it was like, it's just off for 2 months. We'll be back. And so everyone leaves, just another skipper and myself. We stay in the marina with the 11 boats, with the work of kind of putting them to sleep for the 2 months. And this is going to be over soon. And it wasn't. So when I started to realize this, I kind of reactivated more the project I have of racing the Mini Transat. The Mini Transat is a race single-handed across the Atlantic with no assistance, no communication on a 21-foot racing boat. It's a race, I don't know, for people who are fan of motorsport, it would be the equivalent of the 24 Heures du Mans or maybe the Paris-Dakar. It's something that everyone has heard of, maybe without really knowing what it is exactly, but everyone hears about the Mini Transat, at least in France. And it's something that for me, since several years, I was like, that's so cool, but I'll never be able to do that because, you need to be a racer, you need to have a boat, you need to have a project and everything. And while I started sailing with my first little boat, I met a lady in Baleares, in the Med, and she was like, I studied sailing, that's awesome, and next year I want to do the Mini Transat. I was like, wait, you're going to do the Mini Transat? I have a boat and everything, and I'm not doing the Mini Transat. She was like, no, but there is a way to do it. You train and there is like training centers in France and everything. I was like, okay, maybe one day. And while doing the Clipper race, I was like, okay, what could be the next step? And something I always dreamt about was the Mini Transat. So I was like, how do I make this happen? And apparently the first thing you need to do is look for a boat, put a project together and find money. So there I was in the Philippines with not much else to do than working on this project. So I took a PowerPoint out, put together a presentation, tried to look for money, tried to look for a boat remotely. And that's how the Mini Transat project started. Like really, not just in my head.
I don't want to say this out loud, I think, but it's good to the Clippers to pay you a wage while you're chasing money for your mini. That was good. You've played well there. Nice chess move.
and I was making sure that the Clipper boats were not getting damaged or anything.
I think I saw a couple of them for sale from the Philippines just the other day. So I think there's some of them are still floating around.
Need to pay for the mini, mate.
Yeah.
Very good point. So you mentioned earlier that you had to raise the money and you had to do this and that. You started your journey looking for sponsors. Is that how that went about?
Well, that's the way I started it, because remotely from the Philippines, there wasn't much else that I could do. And also that I had really not much money into my pocket to start the journey. To start a mini, you need a boat. For me, there is two ways you can get a boat. You can either rent it or buy it. In my case, I had not enough money to buy the boat, and also because I've been working since I'm 16, but I never really had a paycheck coming every month. So when you go to a bank and say, hey, I want to buy a boat, would you lend me $100K to get this boat? But you'll have to trust me that I'll give you the money back. And you have no paycheck, no house, no nothing. They can mortgage or anything. So this option was pretty quickly discarded. The other way I could do was renting it, but renting it, you have money that goes out of your account every month. So I really need to find a sponsor. However, if you wait to have a sponsor to start this, you'll probably never really make it to the start line, because I found my sponsor 1 year after starting the project. And at the beginning, I just went with so I can talk prices, I don't mind. So the boat to rent is about 3,200 euros per month. I had 20,000 euro in my pocket. So I paid pretty much the first 8 months of the project from my pocket. Just rented the boat, registered to the races, train, everything, hoping that I would find a sponsor at the end of the line. There was a few months that were really critical because I had no sponsor and I had no more money. Luckily, I did a crowdfunding, and thanks to my social media and everything, this kind of worked well, and I could have enough money to get to the point where finally, after thousands of emails sent, thousands of interviews, and finally one sponsor said like, "Oh, you have a cool project. Do you want some money?" I was like, "Yes, please." And that's how I started working with SVB.
Look, I don't have any cash on me right now, but I've got a beer. Will that help?
I've got a beer left. I've got 5 beers here, actually. I gave one away at some stage. I can't remember when. But look, for those who don't know the Mini 650, awesome. I'm looking at your boat here, and you haven't exactly started at the bottom of the heap. Now, let's just talk about to the non-Mini Transit listeners here. The Mini Transit is very famous for a couple of things, and one of them is living on your boat eating 2-minute noodles in a situation which is not too different to what Hugo is in, where he's got absolutely no money but wants to do this race. The only difference I see here between you and that type of person is they do it on a boat generally a lot less sophisticated than yours. So my point is that this is a huge race in Europe, and you mentioned earlier that everyone knows the Mini Transit. Well, I can tell you in Australia, not everyone does know the Mini Transit, but the difference is you've got this boat here, and it's a brand new design. It's a scow bow. It's everything that we're talking about now in sailing. Had you ever sailed an older Mini before you got on the scow bow? That's the question I wanted to ask you. No.
No, I had never sailed a Mini. I was just like, oh, this boat's like super cool, like planning in the spinnaker across the Atlantic. This is what I want to do. And also because like I had done like some sailing before and some racing with the Clipper race. I was like, okay, let's go for a fast boat. I want to play I want to try to be competitive on the water. And you're right, there is different ways of doing the mini. Kind of half of the fleet discovers sailing the way I discovered it in university. They discovered it through the mini, and they buy an older generation boat, which is much which is super safe and super more comfortable, let's say, and they go for the adventure. The target is to get to the other side of the Atlantic and have a beer there with all the mates. And there is another half that try to play a bit more for the actual race and try to go for a good result at the end. And I was more in that half, and that's why I went for this design. And I find also really interesting the innovation that happened in the mini Transat. If today on the IMOCA 60s we have foils, if today in the IMOCA 60s we have canting keels, if we have scow bows that start to develop in the class 40s, if everything happens is thanks to the Mini 650, because they're a laboratory, they're an innovation tester for all these people who are architects, and they're like, okay, I have this idea, I'm going to build it on a small boat where the strengths are less important, than on a bigger boat and everything. I'm going to test this, we're going to race, and we're going to see if it works. If it works, then it goes on to bigger boats. And that's super interesting.
I remember the day we were in La Trinite, and we sailed against David Raison's scow bow, the first one on the water. And I looked at it and I went, what the is going on here? Anyway, that was as it went past us doing warp speed. The thing was a weapon.
Yeah.
Now, that was the first time I reckon I'd ever seen a scow bow, and now it's just, it just went through the mini fleet like crazy, and obviously then worked its way through the class 40s and so on. How did you feel once you got onto the boat and because downwind they were just unbelievable. And I remember flat water in La Trinite, the thing just sounded like a windsurfer bicy as it was coming towards you. How did you feel underneath you, the boat underneath you, when you first got it powered up and you were on your own and you were going?
The first kind of week or 2 weeks were really hard, because I was coming from the Clipper race where you have a big wheel like this, and you did like 2 turns of a wheel to get the boat moving, and then 2 turns on the other direction so it stops moving. And then I get to the helm of this mini, and the first 1 or 2 days I sailed with the owner of the boat, of the Maxi I was renting, and I was ashamed. I would not stop like crash tacking and because it's so light and it accelerates really quickly, but it also stops really quickly, and I had to just like redial everything in my brain. But after a few days, started to get the hang of it. After kind of a week, I stopped like crash tacking and doing stuff like that. And it's amazing because you have all the fun of a bigger boat. I mean, you pass the 20 knots bar, not often, but
enough.
It happens. So you have the fun of a bigger boat without all the hassle of having a 200 square meter spinnaker. So everything is manageable. I was coming from the Clipper race where the Yankee 1 was probably 110 kilograms to this boat where you barely need a winch handle. It's everything. If you time well, you don't need a winch handle, and it's amazing.
I've got a question, Hugo. When you first turned up at the boat, I'm looking at a photo of it now. Looking from the bow, when you first turned up to the boat, did you know which end was it which?
I still haven't figured it out, mate.
It is crazy. Like, go 1014 is your boat, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. So the listener, just Google Mini Transat 1014 and have a look at this thing. It is unbelievable. It still shocks me looking at it. It is cool.
I think to get it into perspective, Bicey, even more, they're 21 feet long, right? Now let's talk in 21 feet. That's 6.5 metres wide. Now, the rule is that they're 3 metres wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is 3 metres wide, a metre from the bow.
Yeah. So you're almost sailing a rectangle along. You are.
Mate.
Yep.
Yeah.
And There's actually a guy in Lorient who built a prototype Mini in his garage, and the thing is actually a rectangle. The guy, so he built it from plywood epoxy. Yeah. It was like, oh yeah, but making curves is it's a lot of work. I'm on a budget here, and he made a rectangle, and the boat is actually super fast.
I can imagine downwind must be a bit of rocker. Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to pack everything up in afterwards.
Yeah, just take it off and put it in a bigger box.
Oh dear. So
that's cool. So what's the what's the plans with the boat, Hugo? Where is it?
Sorry, come again?
Yeah, what are your plans now with the boat?
Oh, so now the boat, last week, 2 weeks ago, I went to Brittany to unload the boat from the cargo ship to shore and put the mast back on, get my stuff out of the boat, and give it to the new guy who's renting it for his 2023 Mini Transat. Mm-hmm. So yeah, because I sailed back from Guadeloupe actually with the boat, but like next to the boat. I delivered the Class 40 back from Guadeloupe to France. Yeah. At the same time as the boat, the Mini 650 was coming back on the cargo. Yeah.
So do you just transfer your boots from that particular boat to another Mini? Is that your next step, or
not
at
the moment
them on the Class 40?
Well, that's a good question. I think I'm gonna get for now onto a bigger boat. The Mini was super fun. I learned so much there, but yeah, kind of feeling like going on a different adventure on a different boat to learn new things. Right now, I'm taking a few weeks. I'm actually in the room where I grew up in the Pyrenees at my parents' place, taking a bit of time with family, taking a bit of time to go skiing, and also to look to what I'm going to do next. So there is, of course, racing that is really appealing. There is many different aspects of racing, and one thing I discovered with the Mini is all the project management aspect. For like 1 hour spent on the water, you kind of need to spend an hour and a half in front of your computer to look for money, to look at logistics, to look like all these things that you don't think about before. And I needed to find kind of 80,000 euro for the Mini Transat campaign. If I want to go on to Class 40, I need to find around 500,000. So it's a lot of time spent behind the computer and all that. So I'm at the point now where I need to choose if I want to start a new project. So go make a new PowerPoint, start to go again, look for money, and that's I'm still not sure I want to do that. I might get a different road where you can be a skipper and get paid to race, to do the same thing, but without all the hassle of looking for money. So being a co-skipper, for example, being a boat captain, things like this. So I'm taking a few weeks to think about this.
What sounds?
Wow. Well, I've got a suggestion for you, Hugo. If you've still got what you love.
I don't know, because I just always wait for something funny to come.
If you've still got contacts within the UN, you should maybe get in contact with them. They've partnered with World Sailing, right? Some sort of climate change setup. So you can go and wave the UN flag around the world in a Class 40.
Now you've given him the idea.
Get full support. Just what was that? UN in Pakistan at the UN.com. Send them an email. See what you can do.
I'm writing this down.
I think
very good
for the listeners. We should point out that you're actually quite active on the socials. You've got your own YouTube channel, mate.
Yeah, that's one thing I got going on like aside since a few years now, since I've started refitting the first boat. The idea was at the beginning to just show family and friends, what was going on with the boat, because in Pakistan, in different places, I kept speaking about sailing. I kept speaking about that small boat that I would fix one day, and after a few years, this started to happen. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to film this and send the video to my friends. And it built and grew, and it went from, I'm just going to show to my family, to I actually can, communicate about this. And I'm trying to take the line of, there is many sailing vlogs on the internet. They all show lots of cruising and lots of like life on a nice boat, a nice catamaran, and just cruise around. I try to show what's the life of someone who tries to live out of the sea, out of the skipper life, and trying to show the racing aspect, trying to show what it is to just live and earn your money from actually racing, and it's so yeah, I have this YouTube channel, the Sailing Frenchman. I have also my Instagram going on, and trying to show a bit all these sailing adventures.
Yeah, so I'll tell. So if it's the Sailing Frenchman on Facebook, Instagram, it's at the Sailing Frenchman. On the website, it's at thesailingfrenchman.com. So that's easy to find. What about people should get it. And I think your YouTube's got like 160 odd videos or something, hasn't it? So it's not just a few random things. It's like a proper blog that's going on. So people, they can get involved. And you got merch.
Yes, you can get a shirt.
I was going to say, Hugo, at being our special guest, you will may or may not receive a merchandise pack from Bar Karate. But I'll tell you what, we'll do a swap. We'll do a swapsy, eh?
Swapsy.
All right.
Yeah. We'll see what we can do. We'll touch base after this. I like it.
Cool.
All right.
I'm checking it out.
I'll sail some shirts.
For the listeners out there, just go check all that stuff out. All the socials. Subscribe. It's bloody good stuff, is what I can say.
Yeah.
So as we sort of wind up, what is the biggest bit of advice you can give to a young, budding, up-and-coming mini transit sailor? Off the top of your head, what is the biggest thing you learned and the biggest bit of advice you can give to someone who's interested in the race?
For the mini transat?
Yes, for the mini transat.
Just enjoy like every moment of sailing on a mini. It's most of the time it's like shitty and wet, but it's still amazing. Like, it's the best. If you do a 2 years campaign, this will be the best 2 sailing years you can possibly do.
Damn it. I thought you were going to go with always carry at least 1 6-pack of beer around with you. You never know what you're going to buy.
I love it.
No,
love it.
Super cool.
All right.
Here you go. Awesome, mate. Loved having you on.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
We'll be keeping a close eye on what that next maneuver is out of the attic of your parents' place in the Pyrenees. But no, look forward to hearing what the next adventure is, and keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Good on you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And if you come to France, come sail in Brittany.
We
love that place. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
See you, mate.
Cheers. Well, that was a good score. Jay and Bicey, whoever picked him up, was a great one.
Shout out to Dale Geddes.
Oh, there we go. Dale Geddes.
Yeah.
Dale Geddes.
Dale and I were doing a bit of a cruise down the Port River. Actually, one of our happy snaps on Bar Karate Facebook page when we were tying the Elliots. And Dale and I having a bit of a chit-chat about his adventures and some of the characters that he had met along the way, one of which being Hugo. So,
well, there you go. That was a bit of a segue. Well organised.
Yeah, nice.
Straight from the script, that one.
Thanks, Dale.
But no, to the point that, again, it's another example of someone who just asks for rides, hangs out at docks, He's the good guy, follows a dream, a passion, whatever, and ends up doing what he's doing. I mean, how many times do we got to see this? We're seeing it all the time. So it's a really good story for anyone out there who wants to do these types of races.
There's a common theme, gents.
There is, and ladies.
By all means, there's many other ways to get into it, but this seems to be one of the ways, and that is one, just having a crack, asking, picking up a broom, and generally not being a dickhead.
And always have a six-pack. Because you never know when you can give a beer away.
It's good at Dale. I think I helped Dale write his resume when he applied to get the head coaching job at Cruising Yacht Club at South Australia.
Cruising Yacht Club, South Australia, yeah.
So that was good. And there's another team having a go for it, a German team looking to the Clean Sailors youth sailing team, the 69F. They're pulling... I helped them with their sponsorship proposal. Lucas, one of the team members, sent it through and asked. So I spent a bit of time on that for them. So they've just launched that Clean Sailors Youth. If you guys just Google that, you'll find that. It looks like they got a pretty good thing going on. So hopefully they can raise a bit of money. I'm quite interested in what they're doing, interested in the 69F. So that's just another one that maybe we could get some value out of down the track. But
for sure.
I love people having a crack BP as you do, mate. Like it's just...
I love it. I love the stories. I mean, could you imagine the day that he did buy that boat for one beer?
Yeah.
Thinking that, in 4 years or whatever down the track, he's going to be doing the 2021 Mini Transit. I mean, this is the goal. This is the situation.
Regardless, you know what they say, second best day in a man's life is when he buys a boat.
Yes.
Best day is when he sells the bloody thing.
That's it.
Well, we didn't actually
regardless of what he pays for it.
I don't think we ever asked Hugo what he sold the thing for.
Yeah.
He probably just left it over in Guadalupe somewhere.
It's in Australia being sold for $3,500.
Yes, it is.
All right. Okay, let's move on. So no events to promote because they're all happening right now. They've just happened or they're happening right now. So our letter of the
I
week.
will say, SA Summer of Sail.
Oh, of course.
Which is taking part next weekend.
Yeah.
It's including basically, all the off the beach classes, plus the Etchell state titles will be held as part of it. Running of the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron. Got everything from windsurfers to the kites to, as I said, Etchells, 420s, lasers, everything. Basically, everything from the coast is making its way north to the squadron for a weekend of fun.
Cool. It was huge last year. Definitely got lots of coverage. So for anyone interested in that, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of links to get on board there. Organised
and put together by the fourth member of Bar Karate, our honorary member.
Our fourth leg.
Harry Fisher.
Harry Fisher.
Yeah. All right. Listener of the week, the Jack Lloyd listener of the week, our great friend Jack Lloyd, who's passed away this year, or last year now. Bice, you got anything?
Well, there's been a lot of banter over the socials this week.
Yes, there has.
Particularly from one Rob Cumine, who was a little disappointed that he didn't win the listener of the week.
Yeah.
So
what was funniest, mate, is that not only did we get that letter from Rob complaining that he missed out in the nicest possible way, bit devote, a bunch of his mates wrote in and congratulated us for not giving it to him. What we should do. You can almost... You know where my brain's going, don't you?
Naturally, I've chosen the listener of the week, and that goes to Beck Connor. May I read?
Yes.
Rub it in.
Just say, as the owner skipper of one land yacht and an owner of a VOC, this is where my heart lies. That's a Land Rover, by the way, and a Discovery. You're not
giving it to a Land Rover.
Soon to buy Series 1.
That'll be right.
I applaud your decision not to give my crew member Rob Q my Listener of the Week award. Although he makes several valid points, he definitely does not deserve it. That may or may not have been said.
So So just to be clear, Rob, I last week described it as probably the perfect listener of the week letter. Information, it was funny, it was interesting.
You did build it up.
It was perfect, and it had to win, and then you gazumped it. And now, this week, not only does he not get it, but one of the people he sails with gets it instead. That's just heartless.
So
and,
Beck,
and because she's got 2 Land Rovers.
Beck, send us your details, and you'll definitely be getting a merchandise pack.
Definitely. Even worse. No one gets a merch pack.
Well, they may or may not.
Oh, dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is rigged. One Land Rover person comes in and then they get everything they want. It's just rigged.
Can you see a theme?
Yeah.
So Sean Wagner with the beer.
Yeah.
Beck with the Land Rovers.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
good.
dear.
Well, anyway, that's a bit of a laugh. Well done.
It's hot time with Bice.
I'm putting your glasses on.
Hey, blokes.
Yeah.
If I say this name to you, Tony Barber.
What
Do you remember from that?
Tony Barber, dancing
where do
his
we-
way
where
onto
do we
the TV
start?
screens.
Host of Sail of the Century.
Yes.
That's him.
And if we do remember one of those, it was a who am I, what am I?
Oh, yeah.
So this week I'm just going to try a few things out and just see if it leads anywhere. So it's a bit of a quiz for you blokes, right?
Okay.
All right, we'll start with the first one. It's a pretty easy one, this one. I started my career. Who am I?
Who am I?
Nick Price.
I know.
Yeah. John Spencer.
I started my career in Papua New Guinea.
John Spencer.
Oh,
Wait till I finish, please.
yeah.
Okay.
I went through various ranks in places like Perth, Canberra, and finally ending up in Adelaide, where I completely dominated the sailing scene. Not to mention many other scenes also. Not to mention
Why are you doing this?
that complete winning streak from 2008 to 2013.
No.
No, this is just all right. I'm Jordan Spencer. This is just to get your head in the game.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, that was a
Here we
test,
go.
was it?
Yeah, that was a test. That was
Oh,
a test.
okay. Yeah, good. All right.
All right.
Who am I?
What am I?
Oh, what am I?
Yes. Organised with the International Maxi Association and the Yacht Club de France. I had 3 classics competing in me this year, including one of our favourite, 1978 S&S 57. I last for 3,000 nautical miles. Jump in when you want.
Ark Rally.
I started in Lanzarote and finished in
IRC.
Grenada.
RSC Transatlantic Race.
Correct. The Rorke Transatlantic Race. The reason I put that there, I just wanted to give because we're coming to the end of it last week.
Last week, yes.
And just the mention there, Comanche, 7 days, 22 hours, 1 minute, 4 seconds. Knocked a solid 2 days off the record.
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed Hugo.
Absolutely smashed it.
Absolutely smashed Hugo Picard's record of 31 days.
Well, he was only walking, so he was telling his backwards. So that there has a little bit of relevance. Something else that has relevance, another race, a little tip. What race am I? Traditionally run on or near the 26th of January yearly. In 1986, I held it and still hold the largest fleet to compete in a freshwater race.
I got it.
All right. If you've got it, I'll just give you the last one. During the 2020 edition, the monohull record was set by a couple of legends sailing a Sharpie. What race am I?
Oh, God.
You threw me out with a couple of legends sailing a Sharpie. I've lost it now.
I just Googled legend sailing Sharpies and then a whole heap of stuff comes.
Well, there's two things that happened that weekend. One, the Windsurfer Nationals, always the Australia Day long weekend. So it was either that or the Melangor.
The Melangor, yeah.
Correct. Melangor has been run and won.
Yep.
I don't have the
Results.
I think they're still out there, as a matter of fact. So, but at the time of recording, huge start. They speaking of Sharpies, second best off the beach class. They had I'm going to say 9, maybe it was 7 racing in it this week, which is pretty substantial. So, but a solid race. But unfortunately for them, they didn't get the record.
Yep.
So shout out to those. I know a lot of them listen to the show. They'll be having a good old shindig down at Galway tonight, sitting 1.5 metres apart from each other. Lucky there's enough room.
Indeedy.
All right.
Dear.
Last one.
Yep.
Who am I? Person or place. Established 29th of December 1961. We have a bit of a saying: to encourage the sport of sailing in all its forms and in a manner which involve the whole family in the activity. Very good mantra. Love it. Members include Mark Bulker, Glenn Ashby, Guy Brancroft, Brodie Riley.
You're just sucking up here.
Home of the Ronson Regatta.
Is it the McRae Yacht Club?
Correct. McRae Yacht Club.
Yeah, you're just on the full suck up on it.
It's all just relevant.
No. I see where you're going.
Currently being raced at the moment. Still got 1 day to go.
Yep.
150 boats sailing. We mentioned it last week, and they're all having a good time. There's a bit of social stuff out there, so check it out. Which then leads me on to not Hot Time with Bice, but Hot Time with Jordan Spencer. Tell us about the VXs, mate. You are there. You're amongst it.
Well, actually,
VX
before we go to the VXs, just with the McRae thing, remember we got notification from the Gosford Sailing Club from John Humphreys.
Yes.
Humps, about the Contender Nationals. Old John Humphreys, he loves a nickname. Everyone's got a nickname in this. He's just sent an update just saying that this year's champion was Matt Mulder, Maltz. So congratulations, Matt. Beating out multiple world champion Mark Bulker of McRae Yacht Club, and then Lindsay Irwin from the Blackrock Yacht Club. Matty Mulder, ex-Queenslander, he lives down in New South Wales now. It's his 4th Contender Nationals title win. I think it's the 3rd one he won was about 16 years ago. So he's been sailing contenders.
Long time between drinks.
Yeah, he's been sailing contenders a long time. He likes a blow. So Maltz, as he says, it was windy, and Worlds are in Perth, I think, next year if they happen. So if anyone's allowed into Perth.
Maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Might have to delay it.
Yeah. Yeah, but so
they're just designing the passports.
But yeah, so congratulations, Matty. Great outcome. A lot of people happy for you. John Humphreys Humps, as I said, man loves a nickname. Old Humps loves a nickname.
The H dog,
the Hon Jumphreys.
I like that one.
We got a few. Just before we do jump across to the VXs, just the little fellas, the little lasses and kids. Marshall Day, he won the Flying 11 Nationals last year as crew. He swapped onto the skipper, and he's had a win this year in his little Flying 11 Cheeky. So congratulations, Marshall. But the second name on that list, Sam Stoddard. I wonder if that Hugh Stoddard and Emily Fuster's little fella. So with Ash Napier. So congratulations to those kids. I just wanted to bring that up. I saw that result pop up.
Very good.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, the Wallies have been happening, the LT windsurfers, and there's just so many different classes. But Sarah Kenny, the great Sarah Kenny, the list of names, my God. So Sarah Kenny is on the World Sailing executive.
On the board, right?
Yeah, she's on the board. She's part of Australian Sailing. I saw her the other day in Sydney at the Sail GP. It was great to catch up with her. Beating out Melanie Webb. Melanie Webb is a long time past sailor, so those two would be fantastic there. So in the women, so congratulations across there. Then, oh geez, what have we got? The cruisers, the lightweights, the mediums, the heavies, the super heavies, the pentathlon females. There's too many results to call out, but jump on there and have a bit of a look. Very happy to see those results. I just thought I wanted to point that out, if that's okay for you guys. Mm-hmm. Okay, VX1s. You guys are both interested. Hey?
First of all, how's your commentary going?
Well, it's not really a commentary gig anymore because the camera crew couldn't get here. They got blocked out with COVID. So
I noticed your camera work's going pretty well, though.
No, not one of my skill sets. I'm trying to drive, and apologies to all the people who are tuning in.
Oh, you're driving as well?
I'm driving. I've got right-hand throttle controls. There's me, and I'm trying to get set up the shots for the other guy who's trying to do the official photography and flying drones. So I'm trying to balance the boat. I'm trying to steer the boat in a crowded area, and I'm trying to do live crosses, just trying to make it work. So I apologise that the quality, I think the first day it was, and there's no cover in the boat. I'm driving, is the worst rib I've ever driven in my life. The thing goes underwater, throws spray. Like the minute you crack the plane, you're completely fire hosed. It is the worst rib. Thank you, Brady Lowe, for lending it to us, you prick. She's a
Big
shocker.
Shout out to our rib supplier.
It's just Brady Lowe, coach, Tasmanian South Australian sailing coach. He would have been there commentating with us if the whole thing had come together, but it didn't. But we're trying to put something up, trying to do interviews, and so there's stuff going, but it's not really commentary per se. It's just one idiot having a go. So it's a bit disappointing. It would have been great fun. They were going to do something like the Mothworlds, that exact same coverage. So it was going to be great. It's, what can I say? So it's off Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron in Waterloo Bay. It's a gradient breeze, south-southeast, really shifty. It's quite windy, slowly dropping away. It is very, very big movements in wind, in pressure. Very hard to have a consistent scoreline in these sort of conditions. So, therefore, if you look at the leaderboard, you'll see the leader has a 2, a 1, a 2, a 1, a 1, and a 1. So, obviously, very difficult to have consistent results. In second place is a 1, 2, 4.
That's clearly.
Hey?
That's clear.
No, it's the two lead boats.
Obviously, they're quite standouts, right? The two lead boats.
Yeah. What they've got going on? So the lead boat is Mach 1. It's
Alan Moffat.
I was just going to say Alan Moffat and Josh and Ben Franklin on that boat there, and then the Queensland Academy of Sports, Tommy Needham, Joel Turner, and I've got a mental blank for the third youth sailor they've brought on. They're a talented sailor, but I apologise, I've got a mental blank. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, they have been sort of match racing each other a little bit. The QAS boys are slightly heavier, and as the water started to flatten out a little bit, the Mach 1 boys have sort of day one. The QAS boys seem to have the advantage, but the Mach 1 boys, they've just sailed the boat super well. They're hiking harder than anyone. They've got a really nice setup, sailing the boat flat. QAS and Mach 1 are sailing the boats the best setup. Probably got
whilst I agree with you, I don't really like hearing it.
No.
My knee just went into a spasm.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to watch. Like I was sitting there, I must admit, about halfway through about race 3, I was just going, how good would it to be out here? I reckon, where would you be right now? And I'm going, well, you wouldn't be leading because there's no way you'd hike as hard as those blokes. So, yeah. No. But, yeah, it's been good to watch. And it's a really good fleet. It's great racing, some great footage, great photography coming off the course because there's been plenty of wind. So these boats they come out of the water. They look great on the water. Everyone's having a ball. Some great performances. Andy Patrick's crew on the Cowabunga. Silas Nolan's just bought that boat, boys.
Oh, he's in.
Yeah. So and it had a T-bone the other, but it looks all brand new again. It looks pretty good. Peter Condy, who heads up the AIS, Australian Institute of Sport, on the late shift, is doing very well. He's a former top performer at the Worlds in lasers and etchels. So he's obviously a cheat. And but yeah, he's having a good time. The double blacks. I think the bad luck story is probably Brett Whitbread.
Brett Whitbread, right?
Yeah.
He's had a shroud fitting failure or something?
Forestay, yeah.
Forestay.
Yeah, so it cost him the first day, but he's right on the pace.
And then he comes out with 236 on day 2.
Yeah. So he looked pretty good. Dave Alexander, old mate Dave, he's up here with Jason Beebe and Jason's daughter. And
that was my key comment. When you look at the top 10, using the old Pareto principle, 80-20 rule, there's about 80% Queenslanders in there.
Yeah.
Obviously.
They've got a great fleet up here.
A good fleet, sailing all the time. They're straight out the back of their state titles as well.
Yep.
So they're hot, which is good. But, of course, when you have a Nationals in your home waters, it's never like that, right?
Yeah, no. Well, no, it's perfect.
Is this what you call consistent, normal RQ weather?
It's challenging. This angle is challenging. You know, there's a lot of tide moving. You've got full tide movement on the course. It's always challenging out there. It's not easy. And because it's a gradient breeze it's not a thermal breeze, so it's a lot more shifty. You really got to be on your game. So it is quite challenging for everyone except the top 2 boats. They've just got a little speed advantage there, and they've earned that speed advantage. Big congratulations to Gregory Hall on Better Boulevard, boat number 9. Greg is a massive supporter of Barkarati Sailing Lager. He has supported us. That boat is up for sale. That boat is up for sale. So if he's got a new one on the water, it's just about here. So I know a lot of people are looking for fast boats. That boat's right at the front of the Nationals. So, happy days. It's been good. It's good fun.
Good. So one day, at time of recording, you've got one day to wrap it up.
Yeah. So all the boys, because 2 drops come into play tomorrow, all the Mac 1 boys
tough have Mac 1.
Yeah, they just need one more good race, basically, and they're done and dusted. It's very hard. So it'll be Mac 1 first, likely, unless something breaks, then QAS, and then there's a real battle. The Cowabunga boys were hard done by because they were over the line on the last race today, and they're sitting in third, and they've had to drop a 35th. They've got an 11th to drop, so it's a fair chance that they'll probably end up coming third. They're sailing really well. Andy Patrick probably going to retire from racing from here and buy a cruising boat and go cruising the world is what I've heard. So, because that boat's just been sold, as I said, to Silas and Catherine, I guess.
Yep. Cool.
Interesting.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, there's an update for you. It was good.
Good wrap up, yeah.
Excellent.
Anything else?
No, I think that's
not really. I'm just going to settle back into my hotel room for the next 5 days.
Yeah, I'll go in peace, mate. I hope you have a nice time. I can't wait for you to turn up and those boats get loaded on and, people get X2s.
It's a whole nother story, but anyway, all good. Good chat tonight, lads. Good to speak to you.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Farewell, boys, and ladies.
BP,
enjoy.
Yeah.
Did you take your guitar, your slide guitar?
No, you're gonna have to do the recording tonight.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I've been practicing. I think I can impersonate you.
Okay, go on. I haven't got the band here either, so.
I've got it. I'm going to do a full impersonation. See if you can tell the difference. You ready?
All right. Yeah, go on, whack it on.
And go.
Jeez.
Oh, Jordan.
That's good, Jordan.
We're going out. Just turn down here. Got to tell you about my impersonation, my Batman impersonation.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about the Batman impersonation.
Oh, no. Kryptonite. Here it is.
What?
What?
Go.
Put the music on.
What are you going to say? No, sorry. You meant to say, that's Superman. And I'll go, yeah, I know.
I still don't get the joke. I was going to say that's Superman, but I'm just
Yeah, I know. It's a really good one, isn't it?
That's the dad joke segment. Get the music on.
Dad joke. All right. Did one of your kids teach you that?
Of course.
All right, listeners, thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Cheers.